race headlong into the future. You live through your computer. It's got you on a short leash. No, you can't run, but at least you can keep on working. Your back is sore. When all they want is more, they could take your car and take your home and take away everything you thought you ever owned. Is that the price of being free? That we get no guarantee. They can take your home and take away everything you thought you ever owned. Is that the price of being free? That we get no guarantee. Can I get a little money for the teachers and 10% for the preachers? Can I get a little money for the police? You think you're both were athletes? You can keep on working, your back is sore. And all they want is more. They can take your car and take your home and take away everything you thought you ever owned. Is that the price of being free? That we get no guarantee. They can take your home and take away everything you thought you ever owned. Is that the price of being free? Well, I've been working all my life and I got nothing to show for all the sweat and the blood and doing what I should. There's no end in sight. I owe so much that I can't quit till I'm in the grave. Till then I'm a slave. I know this can't be right. And they put you out in the street. Say you're lucky and at least they call you middle class, but you know you're poor. At least you know who you've been working for. They could take your car and take your home and take away everything you thought you ever owned. Is that the price of being free? That we get no guarantee. They could take your home and take away everything you thought you ever owned. Ain't that the price of being free? That we get no guarantee.
And that's track number 3 on today, or excuse me, number 2 on today's MSI. I get ahead of myself every once in a while. I blame it all on Ian. I really do. All right, let's go to Tommy, find out what he thought. Tommy, what do you think of number 2 today?
Oh, bless him.
Okay, bless him. I liked it. There were a lot of balance problems with the vocal. The background vocals were nice and big, and the lead vocal was nowhere near the same size in comparison. It could have been. The performances were well. I would have liked to have heard another guitar. One thing that struck me was, like, in the beginning, the guitar was sort of over to the left, and then as the intro ended, it just, like, shot right over to the right, which sort of caught me a little bit. But it definitely could have used another guitar. The drum playing, it should have been funkier all over. It didn't bounce enough for me. But I do like it, and I think the use of the background vocals was outstanding. It's just that they were a little overpowering compared to the lead. The lead kept getting lost, and the drums and the rest of the instruments, it's definitely inconsistent in the balances, and it needed a stronger mix to bring these things out. I love the rhythm of the lead and the mixture of the harmonies, and that breakdown in the middle there, the middle eight, whatever you want to call it, was really interesting. And it picked back up again. It held my interest throughout. It was overall a good song that I think just needs to be brought back in and mixed better.
All right, I appreciate that, Tommy. Thank you, and let's find out what Andrea thought. Andrea, what do you think of track number 2?
Yeah, I agree with Tommy on the mix.
It's an interesting song because it's really retro and it has this 70s throwback feel, but it doesn't have anything modern in it, which for me was, I don't want to say a negative, but a weakness, because you're only going to find certain people who, like that whole totally retro thing. But it was interesting. It's not that I didn't like it. It's just I think that the mix and the production didn't do it any service in making it modern. The drums, to me, really busy. It could have just gone to really just grooving instead of. There was a lot of complex hi-hat stuff at some point where it went into a kind of a busier feel. The drums in general didn't sound great to me, and wasn't nuts about the snare sound or any of the toms. It sounded retro, but retro sounds doesn't mean it always sounds good, especially now that our ears have been adapted to really great sounding stuff. So I thought the bass was great. I love the bass player. It sat nicely, really nice tone. Guitar and keys, they were tough to distinguish to me. At the beginning, that guitar part is very obvious, but I don't know whether it's the part or the mix itself, but it got tough for me to hear those, and part of that was probably because the backing vocals were so present. Vocals, excellent. Great backing vocals, great voice on the lead. Really impressed with that, but the overall mix isn't supporting this the way it could. So I'm with Tommy in that would need to be worked out, and maybe working with a producer to get some modern feel going on.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, Andrea. Thank you very much. And Ian, what do you think of number 2?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much going to echo what Tom and Andrew have said in a lot of sense. I found the mix very hot. I found everything was just over-compressed, and there was a lot of stuff sitting in the top end, which is why I think Andrea's saying there was difficulty distinguishing the keys and the guitars sometimes, because those guitars were very up front, I found, and they were very brittle, and they were very, just too much top end. They needed to be warmed up. And overall, the mix for me had no space. Everything was just sitting there. Everything was just on top of each other. The backing vocals were very dominant. They were overpowering the lead vocal. But as a song, I think this has got a lot of potential. I didn't mind the busy drums, and I think once that mix is cleaned up, then you can hear everything that bit better. And as Andrea said, the drum sounds are improved. I don't think that performance is going to be a bad thing for the song. I think it'll be a good thing. It's just at the moment when everything's muddy on top of each other, it's not distinguished and just makes things sound worse. The vocal performance I found was very strong, very soulful. Liked the sort of odd timing in there on a few occasions. That was great. Again, the backing vocal was very, very strong. I thought, to me, this had sort of a heart back to Stevie Wonder, and also a bit of Jamiroquai. So sort of, I think there was a touch of modernness in there for me. But except that I can't remember the bass line. The bass line to me was very meh. It was there, but it wasn't there, and it was very sort of nothing special. Didn't really stick out in my head. But a great song, I think. Good performance. I like the little breakdown to the Hammond organ style before the song coming back in towards the end. And overall, a well-written track. I mean, I love a song with a message, and this has got a message. There were some great lines in there, like the price of being free is we get no guarantee. And I think I'd like to go back and certainly listen to these lyrics again, because I think they can be very well written and very poignant for our time.
All right, I appreciate that, Ian. Thank you very much. Now, the name of that track and the artist who sent that in is No Guarantee by Bosco and Peck. So Bosco and Peck, thanks for sending that track in to us. We really appreciate it. Now, to our panelists, a task left to do is you're selecting a song of the week. So I'm going to let you guys talk about it and figure out what you want to do here.
First of all, I'd like to say nice to see the standard of music taking another step forward this week.
I missed last week's show, but I don't know. didn't. This week seemed to go much better from what you guys said.
It was a tough show last week. I think it's a tough show this week because the songs are all of quite a good standard, I think.
Yeah, I would say they are. I think my favorite of them, they all have a weakness, you know? They all have strengths and they all have a weakness. But my favorite of them is the first composition, really just because I think it has the fewest number of weaknesses.
All right. Ian and Tom?
I'm going to have to go with number 2. Purely, I think the lyrical quality was fantastic. It was uppy. It was interesting. As to me, as I said, it's got elements of Stevie Wonder and Jamiroquai now, so I think it could be quite relevant now. Does need a remix. Would like to hear that a bit more level playing field instead of having things so up there. But yeah, I think for me, number 2.
All right, and that's going to leave it to Tom. Tom, what do you think?
As much as I love Andrea and her taste in music and her wise and wily ways, I'm going to have to disagree with her. Number 1 was very melodic and it was very interesting, but it did have its problems. And the main thing that was wrong with number 2 was just the balance thing. So I'm going to have to go with Ian on number 2.
All right. Well, there you have it. And if it's any consolation, Andrea, I would have went with you. All right. I like number 1. Like I said in the chat room, it gave me chills when I heard it the other day for the first time. And Ian has fallen over. Somebody please help him up. Okay.
So I'm fine.
He had a heart attack.
Wow, Tom.
You can't believe that Tommy actually agreed with him.
Love you, man.
You owe me one.
All right. Now, song number 2 is No Guarantee by Bosco and Peck. So we appreciate the fact that you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully everybody out in the audience did as well. And congratulations to Bosco and Peck. Now, Andrea, we want to thank you for joining us again. Really appreciate that. Always a great time. And no major breakdowns either this time.
Yeah, technology didn't let us down today. Yay.
That's a first
Don't
for
blame
everything.
the technology.
It's always my fault. It's not technology's fault. Yeah.
Thanks for having me, you guys. It's always fun.
All right, and go see Andrea over at the Live2Play Networks. She's there all the time, having a great time doing lots of video stuff over there, reviews and stuff. That's all very cool stuff. And hopefully we'll see you back here really, really soon.
I hope so.
All right, Tom, Ian, thank you guys as well. Appreciate it. And want to remind everybody, next week you want to join us as well, right here, same time, same channel. Paul Miro is going to be our guest panelist next week. And again, on Wednesday, Indie Inquest. It's the best kept secret of MSI. Tune into MSI Radio, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Or 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. 10:30 p.m. GMT if your mom lets you stay up that late.